Today, we are going to embark on a fascinating journey from the unpredictable realm of chaos to the strategic world of control. We will explore the story of risk. Risk is a concept that touches every aspect of our lives, from the smallest daily decisions to the grandest corporate strategies. Understanding it isn't just an academic exercise, it's crucial for making informed choices and navigating an uncertain world. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast foggy landscape. The fog is uncertainty, and our goal today is to equip you with the tools to see through it. So, what exactly is risk? At its core, risk refers to the possibility of an adverse outcome. It's not just about what will happen, but what could happen and the consequences if it does. We can break it down into three components. First, uncertainty. This is the most fundamental aspect. If an outcome is guaranteed, there is no risk. It's the unknown, the what if, that defines uncertainty. Second, probability. While the outcome isn't guaranteed, there is a likelihood associated with different possibilities. Think of rolling a die. You don't know the exact number you will get, but you know the probability of rolling a 6 is 1 in a 6. And third, impact. What are the consequences if a particular outcome occurs? When we talk about risk, we typically focuses on the negative consequences, the potential for loss or harm. On a more formal sense, especially in the world of finance and risk management, we often quantify risk with a simple yet powerful equation. Risk is equals to probability of an event times impact of the event. This formula helps us move beyond gut feeling and assign a measurable value to potential threats. But how did we arrive at this understanding? Let's take a trip back in time, stretching back further than you might imagine. The concept of risk has evolved dramatically over the centuries. In ancient times, people viewed uncertain events like a devastating flood, a sudden illness, or a failed harvest not as a risk to be managed, but as act of fate or divine will. There was a sense of helplessness against powerful, unseen forces. Fast forward to the 17th century, a pivotal shift occurred. Thinkers like Blaise Pascal and Paris Deferment began to explore the principles of probability, often inspired by game of chance. This was a revolutionary idea that seemingly random events could actually have an underlying mathematical patterns. This laid the bedrock of modern risk theory. From philosophical musing, our journey moves into the world of commerce and industry. The 18th and 19th centuries, the industrial revolutions, and the rise of global trade saw risk becoming something tangible. Insurance companies emerged, allowing merchants to protect their ships and goods from the peril of the sea. Banking institutions developed, managing credit risk. This was the era when risk transformed from an abstract concept into something that could be measured, priced, and crucially managed. The development of actuarial science and statistical models allowed these institutions to assess and mitigate risk with increasing sophistication. And now we arrive in the modern era where risk management has become a sophisticated discipline. In the 20th century, particularly after World War II, risk management solidified itself as a formal discipline. It wasn't just for insurance companies anymore. It permeated business, finance, and engineering. We saw the emergence of new concepts systematic risk, where the failure of one entity could trigger a cascade throughout an entire system. Operational risk, dealing with failures in internal processes, and reputational risk, the threat to an organizational standing. These reflected the growing complexity and interconnectedness of modern organizations. Today, our view of risk is even more nuanced. It's no longer just a threat, it's also recognized as an opportunity. Strategic risk management is all about balancing potential risk with potential rewards. And with the explosion of data analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, we are transforming how we predict, assess, and respond to risk. We have predictive models that can be analyze vast amount of data to identify emerging threats and opportunities. So, beyond historical timeline, why is understanding risk so profoundly important in our daily lives and for organizations? Understanding risk is absolutely essential for several critical reasons. Firstly, for decision making. Every single decision we make, whether personal or professional, involves some level of risk. Knowing how to assess and manage these risks empower us to make better, more informed choices. Should I invest in this stock? Should our company launch this new product? Should I take this new job? Each requires a thoughtful evaluations of potential outcome. Secondly, in business and finance, companies must meticulously manage financial, operational, and strategic risks to remain competitive, maintain stability, and comply with regulations. Investors too rely heavily on risk analysis to balance their portfolios, seeking to maximize returns while managing acceptable level of risk. Without robust risk management, businesses are essentially flying blind. Thirdly, in our daily lives, from deciding whether to buy health insurance, choosing a career path, or even something as seemingly simple as crossing the street, risk awareness helps us navigate life safely and wisely. It allows us to anticipate potential dangers and take preventative measures. And finally, for public policies and safety, governments constantly use risk assessments to plan for natural disasters, regulated industries to protect consumers, and safeguard public health. Think about public health campaigns, environment regulations, or urban planning for earthquake zones. All are driven by risk assessment. Now that we understand the why, let's delve into how. What are the fundamental building blocks of effective risk management? To effectively manage uncertainty in any organization, it's essential to understand the foundational element that makes up a comprehensive risk management framework. It begins with the risk management cycle, a structured, continuous approach to identifying, assessing, managing, and monitoring risk. It's not a one time event, it's an ongoing process. Next, we need to master recognizing risks, knowns versus unknowns. This means differentiating between clearly identifiable risks, things we know we don't know, and those that are truly uncertain or unforeseen, the unknown unknowns. Think of building a house. You know you need to account for rain, unknown, but an unexpected earthquake, an unknown unknown, is a different challenge. Then, understanding types of loss, expected, unexpected, and tail events. Expected losses are routine and predictable, like normal wear and tear on machineries. Unexpected losses are less frequent but still within a typical range. Tail events or black swan events are rare, extreme scenarios with massive impact, like the 2008 financial crisis or a global pandemic. We also need to become adept at deconstructing risk factors. This involves analyzing the underlying elements that contribute to risk exposure. What are the drivers? What are the root causes? Breaking risk down allows for more targeted mitigations. As we move from basics, we uncover more complex and interconnected aspects of risk. This led us to more advanced concepts, for instance, from tail risk to systematic crisis. How can isolated extreme events escalate into widespread systematic failures? The interconnectedness of global systems means that a single point of failure can have cascading effects. We must also consider human influence and conflict of interest. Human behavior, decision making biases, and ethical dilemmas play a significant role in how risks are perceived, created, and managed. Sometimes the biggest risk factor is us. Then there are risk typologies and interdependencies. Risks that do not exist in isolation. Categorizing different types of risk financial, operational, strategic, cyber, environmental, and understanding how they interact and compound is crucial. A cyber attack, for example, can quickly lead to financial loss and reputational damage. Risk aggregations technique are vital for understanding the big picture. These are methods for combining various individual risk exposures to understand the overall risk at an enterprise level. It's about seeing the forest, not just the trees. Ultimately, the risk management is all about balancing risk and return. This means aligning our risk appetite, how much risk we are willing to take, with our strategic goals and value creation objectives. Sometimes taking a calculated risk is necessary for growth. And finally, the ultimate goal is enterprise risk management. This is a holistic framework for integrating risk management across all levels of an organization, ensuring that risk is considered in every decision, every department, and every strategy. As we bring our discussions to a close, let's reflect on the essence of our journey. In conclusion, risk is not just an abstract concept, it's an inherent and unavoidable part of life and business. Its definition has undergone a profound evolutions, transforming from mystical interpretations rooted in faith to a sophisticated, data driven field of study involving mathematics, psychology, and strategic thinking. By actively understanding risk, by embracing its uncertainties, quantifying its probabilities, and anticipating its impact, we empower ourselves. We empower ourselves to make more informed decisions, to prepare proactively for the uncertainties that lie ahead, and perhaps most importantly, to seize opportunities with confidence. Risk is not to be feared blindly, but to be understood and managed systematically.